Good evening. It is no secret that we normalize alcohol too much in our society, and it has consequences. The kid we'll call James was at the top of his class in high school. He was an amazing football player with a great personality. By all accounts, he was a very social and kind individual. He grew up in a stable household with loving parents. His dad would drink a beer most nights with dinner. His mom had a kitchen towel hanging from their dishwasher that said, "Love the wine you're with." In his teen years, his friends started to drink, so he joined them. No big deal. Then he went to college. As a teen, he had watched a lot of movies about college. Everyone was drinking and partying, even the nerdy kids. It wasn't the cool thing to do, it was the thing to do. At least that's what he thought. At first, he was only drinking at parties, but soon it became a habit. His teammates fondly nicknamed him Kegger. And laughed along with his antics. He started to fail in his classes. Still, that's what kids did, right? Then he started to play poorly in football. He started drinking more, not just at parties, but when he was alone doing schoolwork. It helped him cope with his poor performance on the field, or so he thought. He wasn't truly aware that it wasn't making things better, but worse. He didn't care. He was addicted. Luckily, James made it into his 20s without any major health issues. However, his personality changed dramatically. He became consistently unfriendly and at times abusive. James alienated himself from most of his friends and family and some of his loved ones. But James staggered on. I'd love for this story to surprise you, but most likely it does not. The story is both unsurprising and ubiquitous. We have normalized alcohol in our society, even though its consequences can destroy lives.
The magic is strong, and so are the drinks. Please, music! A bailar!
This was a quote from Disney's Encanto, an animated film rated PG. Statistics regarding alcoholism are staggering. More than 6% of adults in the U.S. have an alcohol use disorder. This is about 1 in 12 men and 1 in 25 women. In addition to that, over 500,000 minors also have alcohol use disorders. This should be frightening, but probably is not. You've heard it all before, for years. Statistically, everyone here knows at least one alcoholic. Each year, 95,000 people die from alcohol-related causes. It is the third highest cause of preventable deaths in the United States, ahead of falls. Alcohol also plays a large role in domestic abuse, with the World Health Organization estimating that roughly 55% of abusers were drinking before an assault. Alcohol has become so embedded in our accepted culture that we tolerate it without much of a second thought, or really even a thought. We laugh at it even in kids' movies. Much of this is due to marketing and advertising. In a study from 1988, children between the ages of 8 and 12 could name 5 alcohol brands and only 4 high-ranking government officials. In 2016, there was a study that showed that the average American, ages 11 through 14, saw at least 3 ads every day. So the likelihood in this day and age that kids know more alcohol brands and fewer government officials is very high. In the United States, there are approximately 3,000 alcoholic beverage companies. Over 600 of them have advertisements on TV or streaming services. Research from Boston University has shown that a person who sees more alcohol advertisements has a higher chance of drinking. Once I became aware of the effects of advertising, I started to really notice it everywhere. As you watch TV, you might also start to take notice of how many alcohol advertisements you see. Statistics suggest it will most likely be above 3. There are nearly no restrictions on alcohol beverage commercials. Alcohol manufacturers have pledged to follow their own voluntary code that says alcohol TV commercials must have more than 28.4% of the intended audience be over 21, and that the ad cannot appeal to anyone under 21. But this really only started in the early 2000s. After all, many of you probably enjoyed seeing cute Budweiser frogs or watching the adorable dog Alex bring in 2 cold shows. Off of visual media, alcohol advertisements can be anywhere, with no real voluntary restrictions on who they appeal to. Just the other day, on my way here, I saw 3 box trucks plastered in alcohol beverage advertisements. Advertisements on vehicles, billboards, or posters add to what people, including minors, see every single day on their commutes. And it's not just advertising. Alcohol is predominant in our day-to-day lives, including the content of movies, TV shows, and songs. A study performed in 1996 and again in 2017 found a monumental increase in the depiction of alcohol brands in the top 100 films of the year. In the 1996 study, it found 140 depictions of branded alcohol, and 20 years later, that number jumped to 282, a 96% increase. Dartmouth researchers found that 80% of movies featured some degree of incidental alcohol consumption. Research from 2012 showed this can lead to a worrisome pattern in alcohol use among teens. A study of 6,500 children ages 10 to 14 showed that those who watched movies featuring alcohol consumption were twice as likely to drink alcohol. It also showed that they were 3 times as likely to binge drink. The study mentioned the learn by example nature that young people often follow through their development. The appearance of alcohol consumption in movies normalizes it and can even make it appear desirable and worth doing, which should not be the case for children between 10 and 14. The ban on tobacco advertising in the year 1970 led to a significant decrease in the use of tobacco products in the US. If the goal is to reduce teen drinking, minimizing or removing the consumption of alcohol made from movies may be an effective move. Perhaps many of us have watched The Hangover, A Star is Born, Top Gun, or The Hunger Games. These are all movies with alcohol use. Of course, it's not just movies. There are many TV shows that also normalize alcohol consumption. Some shows include Sex and the City, Grey's Anatomy, The Simpsons, a TV-14 show, Shameless, one of my favorites, Bones, or Futurama, another TV-14 show. Let's not forget about music, something children spend a lot of time listening to. Many songs have a focus on alcohol. A study conducted by Northwestern University found that in recent years, 20 to 25% of songs on the Billboard's Hot 100 list mentioned alcohol. A study from Boston University and Johns Hopkins notes that this number is even higher for hip-hop or country music listeners, where alcohol appears in 37 and 32% of songs. Perhaps you yourself have listened to I Drink Wine by Adele, Champagne Problems by Taylor Swift, Drunk by Miranda Lambert, House Party by Sam Hunt, or One Margarita by Luke Bryan. I know I sure have. So, why should we care? Our attitude about alcohol seems to be that it's a free country and people are free to choose to do what they want to do. But the effects of alcoholism are anything but free. The US spends $249 billion on alcohol-related illnesses each year. Domestic abuse rates are 2 to 4 times higher when alcohol is consumed, and about 32% of fatal traffic accidents involve alcohol. Alcohol is the number 1 drug used by children in the US, causing approximately 4,350 deaths among youth under 21 every year. So, we are overrun with ads and media that tell us drinking is normal, acceptable, funny, and cool. As a society, we choose to put very few limits on this message. However, as we continue to watch and laugh along, we need to remember we are also watching nearly 95,000 of our family, friends, and neighbors die from alcohol each and every year. Perhaps we should all be laughing a little less and consider stopping the normalization of alcohol. Thank you.